What's up, guys? Today's the beginning of day 2 on lifting this Crosstrek. Just after work today, I started to mount the new all-terrain tires, which you can't really see, they're over there. I couldn't finish them today because I forgot the new valve stems for the tire pressure sensors here in the Crosstrek. So I got to pick that up another day. So the wheels won't be going on today, but we're going to finish up that rear suspension. I'm going to unload these wheels and we'll get started. Alright, so I'm about to start on the rear suspension. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what we need to take off, and then we'll get started. At the front, we're going to have to take this ABS line, just unclip it just for now, just so it doesn't get caught on anything. Brake line, just like the front also. Instead of doing the sway bar end links, we undo the 212 nuts, move that out of the way because we got to put the spacer on it. Obviously the 4 19mm subframe bolts, and then in the front, which is kind of hard to see, 2 14s and then 2 12 nuts that we're gonna have to undo just for the front bracket piece. This right here just has to come dropping down too. Alright, so right now, I just took the brake line, disconnected it off of the knuckle. Same with the ABS wire. Undid that, just like the front, just so it doesn't stretch. Sway bar is now disconnected. And now we'll move on to the front, get the two 14s right down in here. And then we just gotta undo the exhaust hanger, or hangers. And then we're ready to drop the subframe down. Alright, so now we gotta drop the exhaust just a little bit. We gotta take these stock hangers off because the kit comes with new ones. So I gotta remove all these. Alright, the exhaust is dropped. So I'll show you. Just got these exhaust hangers. Just spray some WD-40 on them and they'll slide right out. It's got some other ones over here. One right there, one in the front, and it'll drop right down. And we need to undo the 4 strut nuts on the top. So we have to go through the interior. So we're gonna have to take all of this apart and access the 4 nuts on the top. You don't need to take apart the entire interior in order to get to them. Another piece out, and then that piece right there pops right out from the bottom. And there they are, right up there on top. So I'm just gonna get the other side apart, and then we're able to drop this thing down. So we just gotta get those front 19s. The ones that are right here. 19's right here at the bottom. Right there. Same with the back. So we'll do that next. Alright, as a reminder, I'm about to drop the subframe. What you're going to have to do is put the jack underneath the diff. Just like that. So when you undo those 4 19mm bolts, the subframe doesn't just come dropping down. You have the jack supporting the weight, so then you can just lower the jack down, and then the subframe will come down with it. And then also a helpful thing, you just have to jack it back up and the subframe will go back up. Alright, so I just got those 19s taken out. Now the subframe's ready to come dropping out. So let's get this camera set up.
And then we'll literally just be able to drop the subframe down. There we go. So now, as you can see, it's separated on both sides. There's the top of the strut. So now we can throw all the spacers on, get the longer bolts, and start putting this thing back together. Alright, so now this is what we have for the rear kit. We have the longer exhaust hangers. We'll put those on last. These are all the subframe spacers. Nice little pucks. Comes with all the longer subframe bolts. These are the spacers, which are actually really nice. The spacers for the sway bar bushings. And then we just have the front 14 little spacers, some brackets for the ABS stuff, and the brake lines, some more nuts for these, and then the spacers, obviously. Alright, so I've got the spacer started. I have that nut on. Oh, sorry, it's out of focus. All we gotta do is just get this one on. These, the rear ones you don't need to lift up like the front ones did. They just go right on. For some reason these back ones are just like welded studs, unlike the front, which are actually bolts. So I don't know why they did that, but it works no matter what. So now, just gotta tighten these up. That part's done. And then we can move on to the spacers that go on top of here and here. And we can start lifting it back up and get this thing bolted back in. Another thing I almost forgot about, it's easier to get this piece in before raising the subframe back up. So now this pointy end goes top. So you just gotta move the sway bar out of the way enough. It'll bolt on the factory studs. And it'll just go right on, and you just use the factory nuts. So we'll get that on. Then we'll be ready to put those spacers in, which are right here. This will go in just right up on top. Just like that. Alright, so now I have the sway bar mount spacers on. Both of the spacers are on for the subframe. Opposite side you can't really see. Zoom in a little bit right there. It's not zooming in, but spacers on the other side. So now is the fun part of jacking the subframe back up and getting all the holes to line up. I got the spacers in. Subframe is bolted up in the back. It's loosely bolted in the front. This is still loose because I gotta get the spacers for the front in. Sway bar still needs to be attached. But it's in. Those front spacers, which are right over here in this bag. These are right here. Alright, so now this spacer right here with the two bolts. You gotta take the bolts out. I'm just gonna go right here in these two. So the spacer's gonna go in between. Just like so. Then you're gonna bolt it in with those new bolts. There we go, there's one. I'm gonna need two hands for the other one. Shield down a little bit in order to get to it. And there we go. Both of them are started. Now remember what I said about the front. You always want to leave things loose just so you can get everything else on. So now let's get the other spacers on and we'll tighten everything up. So now for this e-brake bracket, that's right in there. I used to bolt underneath on a stud. Now it's going to be bolted on top just to keep the angle right. We're going to be using this cylinder spacer with this bolt. So we're going to put the spacer on. It's going to go right next to it. And now we're gonna have to put the bolt through the top, and then that the nut that we took off of that stud, we're gonna use for the bottom. Just because I needed 2 hands, I got the bolt on now. Underneath, we've got the nut. So now we can go and tighten everything in the front up, and then we could move on to the bracket that holds the splash shield on that we had to take off the clip. I'll show you the little bracket that comes with the kit to mount it on. Alright, so now that's all the hardware for all the extension brackets for, this is for the splash shield, this is for the brake line. So this is going to go right up in here, just like that, and it's going to extend, kind of just like how the front did on the strut, except this goes on the knuckle. So first what we'll do is that we'll throw this one on, throw it for the splash shield. So it's kind of hard to get a good view of this. Let me see if I can get it in here. This piece used to go right onto the front subframe bracket, but now that it's 1.5 inches higher, here we go. A little bracket goes right in between, kind of just like, you know, it's kind of hard to show with the area, but it goes up and it comes with the 10mm bolt and nut that you need to put it on. Alright, so I skipped ahead a little bit. I have this bracket on. Let's see if I get a light in there. Bracket is on to hold the clip into place. There we go, kind of see it. Hold that clip into place, so now that's not moving. I threw on this extension bracket for the brake line. Then also I loosely attached the sway bar mount just so I could do the other side and not have it be a pain. So now this side is done besides tightening that sway bar, so now I'm going to go jump over to the other side and finish it up. Alright, so I just finished up the lift kit in the back, so now the whole lift kit is done. I'm just going to do a quick little review of the rear lift kit, just because some of it I didn't film just because I just wanted to try and get it done, and I needed 2 hands to do it. So here's what we did for the back. Exhaust hangers are in. Those nice long ones right there. I think those are 1.5 inches longer than the factory ones. We did those spacers right there, all 4 corners of the subframe. Come around to this side. We have the new spacers for the front of the subframe bracket, right there and right there. Again, there's another puck. We have the sway bar bushing spacer, the brake line, little adapter bracket, and up in here, which you can't see now, are coated spacer for the top of the strut. So that's what consists of the back. I already put the interior of the trunk back together, and we're all set. The lift kit is completely done, front and back. And next thing that we will be doing is throwing the tires on, except right now I don't have the tires. So next time we will be putting the bumper bar and skid plate in the front, and then wire up the light bar, and then we're done. So until next time, day 2 is over. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back.